Juggalos and Juggalettes, this is your big homie Big Ian coming at you live and direct for Faygoluvers.net. Once again, today sitting down with the one and only Vinnie Paz of Jedi Mind Tricks. Vinnie, how you doing today?
Good, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for taking the time to do the interview, man. Well, I want to get off the bat here. I got a lot of questions for you today. One of the first things I wanted to ask was that leading up to the release of Violence Begets Violence, you had announced that Stoupe was not going to be doing production for this album. And then in later interviews, you had mentioned just because, you guys hadn't had a lot of contact and he was taking a long time to do production and stuff like that. Now, with that in mind, do you think that Jedi Mind Tricks projects will be finished more quickly and coming more regularly from here on out?
I think projects that I'm involved in general will be coming out quicker. I'm currently working on three things right now. Another solo EP, a Heavy Metal Kings Part 2 with Ill Bill, and a new Army of the Pharaohs record. So it's just, I think, the ability to move quicker without having to just to wait on one person, allows me to be more prolific with it. It's like, the thing is, I said he was slow and stuff, but he's a brilliant guy. You know what I mean? It's just when you're trying to do a lot of stuff, it's like, it's hard to wait around 3 weeks, 4 weeks just to get one or two beats. You know what I mean? So it's the process was just becoming longer and longer with each time.
Now, you were saying about all the other projects you were involved in. Now, is that to say that was Stoupe involved in any work or production on other groups outside of Jedi Mind Tricks that you're involved in?
No, and that's kind of the point, because it was like, I felt that, up until a certain point, I felt like I couldn't do other stuff because the process was taking us so long that I was being consumed by those records. You know what I mean? Because it was just such a tedious process. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that's part of the reason I stepped out and started doing other stuff, because I was like, this shit is taking so long. You know what I mean? I feel like, I'm not sure the word exactly. Like, I basically felt like I was running in quicksand. You know what I mean?
Okay, so would you say that the way the things had been going with Stoupe kind of influenced you to move on and start doing solo projects and stuff like Heavy Metal Kings?
Absolutely, definitely.
Have you had any contact or spoken with Stoupe since? Has there been any updates on y'all's relationship?
I haven't spoken to him. There's definitely no beef or anything. We've been a group for over 20 years. So it's just like, I think there comes a point in like any working relationship where you just, if you're not on the same page anymore, man, it's just like, it starts becoming, more unhealthy than it is. It's like, I don't know, I guess it's hard to explain. Like, it starts becoming draining. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, doing the projects was draining the shit out of me, because I was just like frustrated by like his lack of enthusiasm. I was frustrated by his slow work rate. But that'll never mean that I don't have love for him. You know what I mean? That's my brother. But it's like, I haven't spoken to him. As far as I know, he's MIA. My business partner Jan is like, me and him were the ones that spoke to him the most, probably, in the world. He hasn't spoken to him either. So I don't really know what he's up to. But as far as I'm concerned, on a personal level, it's all love. I can't wait around 3 years, to get 12 or 13 beats. You know what I mean? It's not how the game is now. It's not, fans expect more from you. You know what I mean, and to be more prolific than that.
You had mentioned a couple questions ago a bunch of stuff that I had wanted to touch on. First and foremost being you and Ill Bill had come out with the Heavy Metal Kings a couple years ago, very well received, awesome project. And then ever since then there had been, buzz about the next Heavy Metal Kings project, and I know that that's been touched on several times leading up to now. Of the three projects you said you were working on, Heavy Metal Kings, Army of the Pharaohs, and your solo EP, is one taking precedence over the other as far as like how close it is to completion or release?
This EP I'm doing has been, well, basically what happened was Bill and I were touring like basically 3 months in a row. We did all of November in the States, all of December in Europe, took a couple weeks off for the holidays, and then did a month in Canada. So we were kind of formulating the Heavy Metal Kings record and picking beats and stuff like that. So since we've been home, he's still out promoting his record, the Grammy Awards. He's overseas now, and he's doing some dates with La Coca. So in the time that he's away, I've been working on this EP, but we have a lot of the tracks picked out in terms of production wise for Heavy Metal Kings. So I think I'm gonna drop this EP in the summer, and then Heavy Metal Kings in the fall is what we're hoping for right now.
This is actually the first I'm hearing about an EP project. What can you tell us about that? Do you have a working title or theme for that?
Yeah, it's going to be called Carry On Tradition, and the concept or theme is I'm kind of putting on. I'm working with kids that I have a lot of respect for and think of super talented kids, but that I don't feel have gotten the proper shine yet. You know what I mean? It's kind of me, working with some MCs that I feel need to be heard. So it's kind of like saying Carry On Tradition, being the title, just carrying on the tradition of what I perceive to be, the next generation of kids that rep that hardcore shit. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the idea that the theme of the EP.
Now, before we move too far past Heavy Metal Kings, like while we're on the subject of heavy metal itself, you've said many times about how big of a fan of heavy metal music you are and particular bands, and there's a lot of references in your music about band members that you're big fans of. And one of the things I was curious about is, have you ever considered collaborating musically with some of your favorite heavy metal artists?
Yeah, well, actually, Tom Araya is from Slayer. I actually know his nephew. So his nephew kind of hooked up a connection, and I got Tom's number, and he was actually supposed to be on the last Heavy Metal Kings record. But Slayer's huge, and they're crazy busy, and constantly on tour doing the festival scene. So it just never materialized, unfortunately. It's something that I think about often, with a lot of my favorite bands. I happen to know a lot of dudes and bands that I like, so it's just, I think the thing with collabing, is just like right place, right time, you know what I mean? Because I like to do things organically, so I think that like forcing the issue or trying to make it happen when it's not the right time, it's not good for the fans, you know what I mean? So there's definitely, that's always in my head, to happen. I just want it to happen the right way. So when the time presents itself, I'm going to take that opportunity. You know what I mean? It's definitely something that I'm interested in.
So still a possibility that that collaboration could happen, just no firm dates or anything.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to say, a date or a person or a time because then I look like an asshole. You know what I mean? So it's like, just it's a good question, and it's definitely something I want to do and I'm going to do, but you know, um, like I don't have anything specific lined up yet. You know what I mean? But once Bill is back and we start really, getting our hands dirty in regards to the record, then things will start materializing.
Question sort of in the same vein as that about heavy metal. Not just collaborations, but have you ever considered doing your own heavy metal group or side project?
Well, I'm a fan of metal and punk and hardcore. I'm good friends with the guys in Terror, an LA hardcore band, and I've done some guest vocals with them, not rapping, like some hardcore shit, like hardcore vocals. Um, so me and Scott Vogel from Terror, the lead singer of Terror, we keep talking about doing a side project, a band. Um, so yeah, I've definitely thought about it. You know what I mean? I think it's like I just feel like I'm one of those people where I constantly feel like there's not enough time in the day. You know what I mean? So uh, I mean, we keep telling each other we're going to do it. So it's something that it's a dream of mine to get done. To work on something like that. So that's another thing. Like, yeah, man, it's actually you're reading my mind with this interview. Yeah, it's something I want to do, and I'm definitely gonna make it a point to make time to do it. But again, it's like Terror's doing 200, 250 shows a year, man. So it's like, and mix that with my schedule, you know, we just got to pick the right time to do it. He's been living in LA for a long time, and it's just come back to the East. He's back in I think he's living in Syracuse now in New York. You know what I mean? So it makes it a little bit easier to try to work on that.
When you were referencing that, you were saying that there were some recordings you had done with Terror where you were doing vocals that were not rapping. Are those songs or projects that have already been released that your fans can go look up and listen to, or are they not yet released?
Yeah, there's they did an EP called Rhythm Among the Chaos, and any old school New York hardcore fan will remember a band called Breakdown. We did a Breakdown cover called Kickback. So if you check out, you look into it, Terror Breakdown cover Kickback. That's me on there. Um, so yeah, it's out there. It's easy to find.
Okay. Now, again, coming back around to something you touched on earlier that I know a lot of people have been bugging you about is in late 2011, you guys announced that there was going to be a new AOTP album coming out in 2012. And then, 2012 came and went, and you guys said, it's still in the process of being worked through. So, where do you stand right now with the new Army of the Pharaohs record?
We have some rough stuff laid out. People have done vocals. Um, everybody. Man, I'm trying to think who hasn't. I mean, basically everybody at some point has recorded something. It's just like, imagine, obviously you're interviewing me, so you love music and you're involved with it. You know what I mean? So it's like you understand, how difficult the process of recording an album is. Now times that by, 10 or 12 rappers and 10 or 12 producers. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's an arduous task. Um, there was stuff we recorded that when we were saying, in 2011 and 2012, it was being worked on. It was being worked on. There's stuff we recorded and then we scrapped because we felt it could be better, or it sounded dated, or we didn't like the beats. Um, so the basically, we've been going through the rounds again of the beats and everyone listening to stuff again. And, you know, again, it's like when you try to stick your teeth into something, but, you know, it's like I'm on tour, and then I'll be home and I'll be working on something, and then someone else in the group will be on tour, where someone else will be working on a project. So it's like to have as many dudes involved as we have to all be capable at the exact same time to be working on the record at that exact same time, you know, is next to impossible. So it's a good thing because that means everyone's busy, you know what I mean, which is good. But it just makes it harder to you know, sort of connect in some sort of, you know, rhythmic basis. So it's again like this time around, like within the past month or two, you know, there's a new round of beats and stuff, and some people have recorded some stuff. So, you know, it's being worked on. I just, you know, to announce an exact date would just be stupid, and it would be, you know, it would be counterproductive, and it would
Premature.
be unfair. Yeah, it would be unfair to the fans to be like, yo, here's the date it's coming out. It could be done much quicker too. You know what I mean? So it doesn't mean like, yo, it's going to take 3 years. Sometimes it's like, in the past, we've gotten the ball rolling and had 6 songs done in 10 days. You know what I mean? And once we hit that rhythm, you know, anything could happen.
You have a very large fan base, and many people have voiced this to me, and I feel it myself, is that you are one of the hardest working men in hip-hop today. Between Jedi Mind Tricks, Heavy Metal Kings, your solo releases, Army the Pharaohs, heavy metal side projects, your fans have been treated to 1 or 2 major releases every year by you for the last, you know, 5 years or so, and all the while, none of it getting repetitive or tired. Everything remains original and sounding wonderful. And I think what a lot of people constantly wonder when they listen to your music in the back of their minds is, how does someone create so much awesome music at such a rapid rate and still keep it fresh and good?
Well, first, I really appreciate that, man. That's kind of you to say. I guess I never really knew how to do anything else in my life, you know? I never, like, I wasn't in school, you know, as a younger kid, like, well, if this doesn't work out, I'll try to be an accountant, or if this doesn't work out, I'll try to, you know, work in corporate America. It's like, it really was the only thing I ever saw in my head as being what I wanted to do with my life. So, I'm just driven by that, and that this is what I love to do, and that I'm honored to have people enjoy what I do. So, I think, like, I have respect for the craft and respect for the kids that listen to my stuff, that I would never want to give them anything subpar. I think when you start doing that, it might be time to hang up the gloves, you know what I mean? And I'm not prepared to do that. And it's like, I'm not going to do that until, you know, I feel like, you know, it's the fans. When people, you know, when people retire from anything, and not just music, whatever job or sports or you know, a boxer, it's like, you know, the fans let you know that it's time to hang them up. Some people choose to ignore that, you know, hang around too long and sort of tarnish their legacy. I'm not cut from that cloth, but, you know, a lot of people have told me that my more recent work has been some of the best work of my career. So that just means, that just fuels my fire, you know?
The last question I got for you here, Vinny, is in the last couple of years, there have been a lot of artists who you associate with, Slain, Swollen Members, and others, who have played the music festival, The Gathering of the Juggalos. And I know for a fact that you have many Juggalo and Juggalette fans, as well as Swollen Members and R.A. the Rugged Man and many other people from the, that niche of underground. And what I want to know is, would you ever consider coming to perform at The Gathering of the Juggalos?
Absolutely, man. I mean, I'm a huge fan of what those guys do. I met a lot of kids. a lot of juggalos, a lot of juggalettes, great people. You know what I mean? I guess I would definitely be down to do it. I guess my biggest concern is to ask someone like you is how open-minded the juggalos are as a nation. You know what I mean? Would they be receptive to my stuff? You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of kids that are into ICP and Twisted and Tech Nine and people that they're into my stuff as well. I just I wouldn't want to go all the way out there and waste people's time if they didn't want to see me out there. But I'm down because I'm a fan of what those guys do, and I'm a fan of the whole concept of the gathering. I think it's a really brilliant idea, and I think it's a great way for people to have fun for a weekend. So I'm down. I'm down to rock.
Okay, awesome. Well, Vinny, like I said, that was the last question I had for you. Is there anything else you'd like to say to all your Juggalo and Juggalette fans listening to this right now?
No, I appreciate the love from y'all, though, man. It's you're very passionate fans, and a lot of times the front row is Juggalos and Juggalettes knowing the words. That shit means a lot to me. So I appreciate the love, from any of y'all.
Juggalos and Juggalettes, this has been Vinnie Paz and Big Ian. We're out.